Hello and welcome to this tutorial video on PFaroe's risk analytics. In this video, I'll be guiding you through some of the functionalities that are used by PFaroe clients to monitor and measure their risk. PFaroe provides risk analytics in the areas of value at risk or VAR, asset and liability modeling or ALM, and deterministic stress testing. There are various metrics to measure risk. PFaroe uses the Monte Carlo method of calculating value at risk. In the risk-first Monte Carlo simulation, 10,000 scenarios are generated for the possible state of the economic world 1 year from the valuation date. Assets and liabilities are revalued in each of the scenarios, generating a distribution of P&Ls from which the VAR can be measured. Risk-first calibration reports provide statistical information about the state of the economic world in a year to come. You can download these reports directly from PFaroe under Analytics, Reporting, Downloads. Risk-first has integrated a sophisticated, award-winning third-party ESG known as GEMS into PFaroe. But if a client prefers to use their own ESG, then that can be integrated into the system as well. Now let's go and see the functionalities. The risk analytics is available under Analytics and then Risk. PFaroe provides insight into the reasons why the VAR arises in the form of the risk attribution charts. When the client drills into the VAR calculation, two waterfall charts are presented under the Attribution tab. The left, labeled Risk Attribution, shows the individual VARs for each risk factors. These are interest rate, inflation, equity, FX, credit, gilt swap spread, and property. The diversification bar accounts for the difference between the sum of the stresses across all risk factors, applying each stress independently, and the result from applying all stresses at the same time, which gives the net risk. It therefore highlights the level of correlation between the risk factors. The right-hand chart, labeled Risk Breakdown, shows the sources of the asset portfolio and liabilities from which the VAR arises by risk factor. A user can click on any risk factor to see the individual component of VAR. Note that under the scenario attribution framework, the underlying scenarios for bars in each chart are different. For example, under the interest rate, the liability VAR is typically driven by a falling yield curve. For fixed income assets, the opposite is true. The net risk is the VAR for the joint distribution and will be minimized when assets and liabilities are well hedged. Statistical information about all the underlying scenarios are also provided under the Distribution tab. This is provided for each of the risk factors. The What If functionality allows the user to test the effect of varying asset allocations. Clicking on the tab presents the risk attribution chart. A universe of common asset types known as risk proxies are provided under the Pick Fund button, including common equity, fixed income, and derivative products. As an example, a client may wish to evaluate the risk impact of investing in infrastructure. This can be done by pressing the Pick Fund, going to the UK proxies, Alternatives, Infrastructure. Now let's sell off some of the equities and invest in infrastructure. Or you can evaluate the impact of adding a swap overlay to your portfolio. This can be done by pressing Pick Fund, UK Proxy, Fixed Income, Derivatives, and choosing the relative interest rate or RPI swaps. There are various maturity buckets available. Let's pick 20 years and allocate a notional amount of £100 million. rebalance, run. In this case, adding the swap overlay helps the client to achieve significant reduction in VAR. You can save the allocation so you can work on it later, or even share the results with others within your organization. The saved allocations are also available in other modules of PFaroe, for instance the ALM module. The Market Event tab summarizes the effect that selected major economic crashes of history may have on a scheme's assets and liabilities were they to reoccur at the valuation date, provided as an instantaneous stress. The scenarios are constructed from analysis of historical data, which are then applied to the scheme's assets and liabilities at the valuation date. Thank you for watching this video, and if you have any questions about the material covered in this video or would like to know more, please email support@riskfirst.com and we will be glad to assist you.